So when we're ready, let's find our way up to standing and just see if we can find the feet about hip width distance. And from here, we're just going to roll down through the spine. And you might like to have the legs extended, or you might like to soften the knees a little bit. We'll do this a couple times, so just feeling into the body, seeing how deep down you get, hanging the head, maybe shaking the head yes and no. And then rolling back up through the spine whenever you're ready to. And when we come up to the top, maybe you want to go a little bit beyond up so you could support the lower back, not to hurt the back, but if rolling up can continue, just exploring into the front body, and then trying a couple more times. So just finding this rolling down, curling, rounding, all the way down, lengthening through the back of the neck. Again, you might want to explore how it's the same or different with legs extended or legs slightly bent. And just taking a moment to shake the head yes and no at the bottom. Maybe even shake out the shoulders and see if you can release anything in the arms. And then rolling all the way back up through the spine whenever you're ready to. And reaching into that front body. Maybe lifting the chin. Finding the breath. Let's go one more time, weightless. Curling, rolling down. Just exploring, maybe a little bit moving the hips or transferring the weight one leg to the other. And this time while we're down, let's just see if we can bring the bum down. So we're just going to bend those knees and just see if we can find a bit deeper down. See how deep we can squat. Now if the heels come off the floor, that's absolutely fine. And see if you can find a place where you could reach the hands forwards and hang the bum backwards. So you're sort of stretching and hanging the heels backwards, but finding that counterbalance. And then we'll again go back up with the bum first. And then roll up through the spine. Let's just bring those hands behind the head. So we get to press the head and the hands together and try to draw those shoulders down. From here, can you lengthen into the belly and reach long into the belly? Can you maybe push the hips forward and press the head against the hands, but support the head? And find a few breaths. And then from here, let's see if we can gently curl. Roll the spine, the chin to the chest. Maybe the forehead towards the knee. Just curl down and stretch out the spine. Whenever you're ready to, rolling all the way back up. And then from here, we're going to grab hold of our weight. So taking preferably a kettlebell. And we're going to see, can we hold it from underneath? As we hold that weight from underneath, we're just seeing if we can let the arms hang down and maybe let the knees soften slightly, but try to tuck the tail under. We're seeing, can we find this sort of a little bit that we're rounding the spine already? And then let that weight pull you down. And if you just get to hang, then hang. But if their weight would reach the floor, if you can fold that deep, bend the arms down towards the bottom so that you're keeping the weight off the floor. Just try and feel that hanging the body, holding the weight. If you can, try to let the head still hang and shake the head and neck out. Try to keep the weight just off the floor. Taking a few breaths there and then rolling back up. So as we roll up, the arms can begin to extend. And then we can find our way all the way back up through the spine. And again, knees can be soft and the legs can be strong. Seeing if we could find our way into the front body. Maybe you can lift the chin, maybe you can draw those shoulders wide. So you're opening through the front, lifting into the chest. You also stretch the underside of the tongue as you lift the chin. Maybe the tongue could go up and back to the soft palate. And then just finding that one more time with the weight. Curling, rounding down. Letting that weight pull. Keeping the weight off the floor if you can. Little bend in the arms, try to have that space for the neck. And then slowly from here, rolling all the way back up. So while we're here, we're going to see if we can go down with the bum. Maybe we open the toes a little bit wider, but still largely hip width or shoulder width distance. And not too much turn down. We're just going to see, can we try to keep the spine tall as we begin to sit down? So we're trying to almost lean back. Just see how far you can go down with the heels on the floor. If the heels get lifted, let them come off the floor that little bit. We're trying as we get down to the bottom to see if we can lift the chest and keep that weight off the floor. If you can, you're going to try to hang those heels back towards the floor, but still lifting them. And the weight is in between the legs, so we're encouraging those knees a bit wide. And then from here, if we can, we're going to stand back up. If it's too much, we lift the bum and roll up. Let's lift the bum and roll up first of all. In fact, let's see if we can just do one of those, just to make sure that we got that. We can go back into here, let the head hang, then we can roll back up through the spine. So it's always fine to work the negative on the way down. Work the negative with gravity and then change our way up. We'll do it again. And this time as we get down to the bottom, if we can try to find our way back up. And here, if you can manage, still keeping that weight off the floor, you're sort of hanging those heels as deep as you can. And then we're going to try to find our way up. So trying to keep that spine as tall as you can. See if we can press down to lift it all the way up. So really give those legs a good workout. Let's go one more time like that if we can. So exploring that range of movement. As you get to the end of the range of movement, you're just trying to hang out there just for a moment to see, can you get a little bit more comfortable? We're just trying to find this lift as we push down, and we see, can we push into the legs and find our way all the way back up. Nice and tall, but absolutely fine to go back to rolling up through the spine if we need. Let's see if we can bring that weight up a little higher. So now we're holding underneath the weight. If you want to, you can hold even the handles of the bell and stay with underneath the weight for the moment. So we're trying to see, can we push that weight tall? And we have the handle in front of the face. And we're seeing, can we push those elbows up nice and tall? And here we're going to see, can we begin to roll down the spine? Try to keep that weight nice and high. So we're seeing, can we roll down? You might need to change the hand to hold on. And you're going to have to engage that core. If you find it's too strong, you can always go back to those arms extending. But here, as we curl down, as we get down deeper, maybe you're lifting those elbows a little taller to keep them close to the side. And then from there, seeing if we could roll back up through the spine. If you need to extend those arms down like we did the first round on the way up, absolutely fine to work that. And then we'll go again, seeing if we can find this working, this rolling through the core. So seeing, can you feel your core work? This halfway down is probably the hardest place. Trying to keep that weight close to the face. Exploring rounding through the spine. And then all the way to hanging upside down as much as you can, trying to lift that weight to the elbows towards the ceiling. Weight is in front of the face. And then we'll roll all the way back. And from here, again, we're going to see, can we squat down? So we're seeing, can we keep that weight nice and tall in front of the face? And how deep can you go down? And again, if that's too strong, fine to go to that place that we went with the weight hanging down nice and low. Taking a few breaths at the bottom, seeing if you can keep that weight pushing tall. So again, you could lift the bum first if you needed to. But we're going to see this time, maybe we try and go straight for that, pushing down into the legs to lift up through the spine. And find our way all the way up. And then we'll do it one more time. Weight in front of the face. And with these weighted things, if ever you need to put the weight down, have a rest, absolutely fine. Find that push, push, push. Find our way all the way up. And then let's just let the arms have a little rest in terms of lifting. So we're just going to carry the weight in one hand, nice and low. We're just going to maybe bring the weight between the legs. I like to rest one arm onto a leg. You might even want to rest an elbow onto the leg. You could extend the leg that the arm is carrying. And we're just going to explore a twist in the toe. We're getting that to work into the shoulder. And just seeing, can you turn the weight as far as you can and then let it sort of twist you that little bit further. And then we'll do the same with the other side. If we can, the back is nice and straight. And you've got the options of resting the hand on the knee, resting the elbow on the knee. If you want to, you can take the back leg out of the way. Just trying to explore into the arm. And then from that down place, we're going to see if we can find our way back up. And here we're going to try to bring the weight into one hand. So I like to take this hand through the bell, through the handle. So we're holding on to the bottom part of the weight and see if we can push that arm all the way up nice and tall. And here we're just seeing if we can stand strong and tall, trying to tighten the core, see if we can find that place. If we need to spot, we can. Pushing the arm tall and just finding here as we are. Let's see if we can explore a little bit that rotation one way. We're trying to become strong and tall with that weight pushing, rotating inwards towards the fan. And then trying the same with the outward rotation. So we're just seeing all that power through the shoulder. If you need to spot at any point, do. And then from there, we'll find our way back in. And if you can, maybe you're carrying that weight just towards the shoulder for a moment before we change side. Just in the one hand. And then we can change sides. You see, can we good to use the legs to push? And then maybe you're pushing up with two arms. We're looking to push that arm as long, as tall as we can, as close to the ear if possible. Just find that place to be powerful and tall. If you need to spot, do. You're pushing tall, trying to tighten the core, trying to feel all that strength and grounded through the feet. And then if you're comfortable there, just exploring that rotation one way and the other, and seeing how much can you keep the elbow extended, the arms stacked above the shoulder, the weight stacked above the shoulder. And then we see, can we find our way down? And if you can, just carrying where you're still pushing up, reaching up, pushing strong there, just to feel how that works the core, working in one hand. And then from here, let's release that weight down from it. So we're going to come into our warrior one. And just warm up the warrior one. Let's bring our right leg behind us. With our toes turned in as much as possible, the left knee is bending, toes facing forwards. We're trying to square the hip, so we're trying to pull that right hip forwards. As we do that, we want to stretch through that right calf. So we're trying to push the heel into the floor and trying to lift the arch of the foot. Sitting down into the front leg, so there's lots of stretch through that right hip. And then from here, we can bring the hands behind the head. And we're seeing, can we press the head into the hand? We're trying to bring the elbows narrow and tall and the shoulders broad and down. And we're seeing, can we find length in the front body? Sensation in the front body, in the belly. How deep can you sit into the left leg? How much can you press the head back? But really support the head with the arms, so bringing those shoulders broad. So there's no pinching in the back here. And then from here, we're going to round and curl, elbows or forehead towards the left knee, or above the left knee, not below the knee. We're working the balance, working the curl of the spine, stretching through that right side of the back, feeling that left belly compress, breathing all the while, deeply. And then rolling all the way back up through the spine when we're ready. See if you can keep the legs the same and find your way into a long leg. And then from here, we're going to see, can we reach those hands nice and tall? And really try to use those fingers, gripping the little fingers as we make our Kali Mudra. The hands are reaching up, squeezing together. We're trying to get those elbows to touch without bending the elbows. And squeezing those elbows together, we're maybe trying to pull the hands apart at the fingers, but gripping really strong so it won't happen. Shoulders trying to come round towards the front of the body as much as you can, around the side of the rib cage. And then from here, we're going to fold, belly towards the leg. We're looking forwards, trying to keep that left knee bent, building the strength into the left thigh, lifting those hands, palms facing down, thumbs out to the side. So you're seeing, can you squeeze those arms together to feel those upper back muscles working, folding into that left leg. Belly wants to touch the thigh, left knee trying to reach forward. And then we'll find our way all the way back up. Again, if you can keep that front knee bent on the transition, hands then can reach up and back as far as you can, long into the belly. And then let's relax the front leg for a moment by straightening it. So we take one more hand position, hands interlacing behind the back. Here again, we're trying to squeeze those shoulder blades together, trying to open the heart, the chest, and pull those hands down. And we're bending the front knee nice and deep. And trying if we can get into our front body sensation. Maybe something through the right hip, maybe something through the heart, through the chest. Also find to feel those shoulder blades working together and lots of sensation there. And then we're going to lift the hands off the back as tall as we can. We're folding the belly to the leg. Let's see if we can curl the forehead down deeper, deeper than the knee, deeper than towards the shin, maybe even down towards the ankle. Hands lifting off the back, keep the front knee bent. Work that balance, stretch through the body. And then from here, let's find our way all the way back up. And we'll just relax the legs and do the same on the other side. So we bring the right foot forward, the left foot back. And we're twisting that left hip towards where the right foot is pointing. And as we do so, that encourages the left foot to collapse to the inner arch. So as the hip twists forward, we're trying to push the outer edge of that back foot, that back heel down into the floor, trying to lift the arch of the foot. Hands behind the head, so we bend the right knee. Maybe the second interlace if you can. The shoulders are coming wide and down, the elbows narrow and tall. Pressing the head into the hand. Sitting in, breathing and lengthening into the front body. So if you're stretching through that left hip, this is working into the lower back because we're working the psoas muscle largely, mostly here, which is protecting, which is connecting the spine towards the leg. Really deep, important muscles. We stretch and we spend lots of focus on. Sensation in the front body rather than the back body pinching. No pinching in the lower back. And after several deep breaths there, we're curling, rounding forward. Forehead towards the knee or above the knee. Trying to bend the knee nice and deep, trying to keep those hips square. Stretching through the spine, shoulders broad and away from the ear. Elbows narrow, forehead trying to touch the knee or the thigh. Or as close as it gets, front knee trying to bend forward. And then let's roll all the way back up if you can. The legs don't change. Still in that warrior one, but as you come up through the spine, notice how it begins to bring that sensation through that left hip. Let's bring those hands up to the ceiling. Second, interlace in your Kali Mudra if you can. Last three fingers interlaced, index and thumb. Extended as we squeeze to the midline. Try to wrap those shoulder blades around to the front and lift up tall. So we're lengthening into the belly, even looking up to the hands if you've got the balance. And then we bring those hands wide and behind, and then narrow and behind, palms facing down, chin forwards. We're folding, we're trying to lift through the shoulder blades towards each other, trying to lift into a back bend as we fold forwards at the hip, trying to square those hips, trying to encourage the right knee forward. Deep breath. And then slowly from here, let's find our way back up. Keep that right knee bent. Don't let the legs change. Find your way up through the spine and then up and wide and even behind with the hands. And extend as far as you can. This time really go for distance, up and back if it doesn't pinch the back. And then slowly from here, we take our way into a relaxed front leg. So we can interlace the hands behind the back. And here we're going to try to squeeze those arms, elbows, shoulder blades together, wrists if they can even to touch. We're going to reach down, back behind, and down and forward through the front knee. Still trying to square those hips, trying to open into the chest. Might be nice to have a little movement of the head if the balance is good. And then we're going to fold the body and lift the hands. We're folding and lifting, belly towards the leg, and then we're curling down, forehead to the shin, deeper than the leg. Lifting those hands off the back, curling, rounding and lengthening, squeezing those arms towards the midline behind the back. How tall can you lift? How much can you round and fold? Back of the neck long if you can. Deep breath. And then let's find our way all the way back up. And we let the legs release for a moment. So we're going to carry the weight in our warrior one. If we come back to having the left leg forward and the weight nearby, and we're going to place that weight on top of the left thigh and the right foot down, grounded, though we're trying to twist that right hip forward again. And this is our low place to carry the weight. We can even rest it on the leg, so hardly holding it. And allow that weight to really push the legs down. Allow that to give you a bit of time to focus. Can I bend the front knee to create as much of a table as possible for the weight? Can I push that back leg strong and straight and twist that back right hip forwards at the same time as trying to lift the arch of the back foot? So really focusing a little bit into the foundation there when we carry that weight nice and low. Now we're going to lift the weight to in front of the face, and here we're going to want to try to tighten the core slightly, which is going to work into that stretch through the belly, through the hip even more. So bring that weight in front of the face. We're trying to get underneath and squeeze those elbows in to push up as we sit down. Can you feel that core work? We're breathing here, and if we go too far anyway, you're welcome to stay where we are. If you need to come down at any point with the weight, you can. We're trying to keep those legs strong there, and then we're going to see, can we even go taller? Can we try to push that weight nice and tall up towards the ceiling? And seeing if you can find that place that you're extending those arms, trying to squeeze those elbows in. Maybe it's like you, with the hands, you could try to pull the weight apart, but it's not going to happen. But those elbows squeeze in a little bit more. Those arms try to extend as tall as you can. Pushing tall, see if you could sit down a little deeper. Can you feel that length through the belly? Trying to extend the belly, extend the spine. Deep breath here. And then from here, let's find our way all the way back in our low place. Let's do the same on the other side. A bit of time, shake out the legs if you need. And then when we're ready, so I've got my right leg forward. So trying to bend that right knee nice and deep, trying to have the back toes turned in as much as possible, but with the heel grounded on the floor and the arch of the foot beginning to lift. And as I try to lift the arch of the foot, it kind of pulls that left hip back. So we're really focusing at the same time, that left hip trying to reach forward. So we're working opposite forces a lot. Sitting into that front leg, taking a few moments to really work those feet into the floor, good solid foundation. And then when we're ready to, lifting that weight to in front of the face, trying to find a little bit more of that core engagement. That's hands underneath the weight, that weight pushing up. We're sitting down, breathing, finding that breath, finding that core, trying to relax the shoulders, trying to squeeze those elbows maybe a little narrow so that we're underneath the weight. And really still trying to work that back leg strong into the floor. And then from there, let's find even more extension, reaching up and tall, as tall as we can through the weight, sitting down nice and deep, pushing up. Again, you might try to be pulling the weight apart to try and create space at the shoulders, but get those elbows trying to extend and squeeze narrow. Breathing, lengthening into the belly. If ever we spend too long somewhere, come down safely. If you can take a few more breaths to find that length and feel those lines, those pushes of force through the body. That's strengthening the body, finding the up and the down. Let's find our way back in and release whenever we're ready. So from here, we're going to see if we can bring the feet about hip width distance, maybe shoulder width distance. We're going to see, can we carry the weight behind the back? And so we're just going to try to hold either side, either side of the handle. And so the hand maybe resting each side of the bum. And then we're going to see, can we try to roll those shoulders forwards? And again, we're trying to round forward through the spine. So just almost resting the weight on the bum and just seeing how far you can curl forward from here. We come back into rolling the spine and the hands are busy behind. Maybe stretching something through the back or through the shoulder. And then from there, let's roll all the way back up. And again, if you want a little micro bend in the knees or to try and work with the legs fully extended, both are fine as long as it feels safe in the body. Let's go again. So curling, rounding. How far can you round the body forwards? Holding onto that weight behind the back. Maybe a little movement through the head and the neck. Then finding your way all the way back up. Whenever we're ready, and here you might decide to try to, as long as it's not pinching the back, try to open into the heart, into the chest. Reach that weight down behind as far as you can. And then we're going to see, can we lift the weight up onto the bum? So here we might need to pull up a little bit higher. We're trying to rest the weight onto the sacrum. Get the legs comfortable that you can fold. As you fold down, same grip with the weight and just see how deep you can fold. And as we get down to the bottom, so we're resting now the weight on the sacrum, you might then decide, and go slowly with this, but you might decide to try to lift the weight off the back and see if you could push the weight up towards the ceiling. So I have the thumbs pointing towards the body, the hands pointing up. If you get comfortable with that, you feel you can with control, you can try to extend the arms and then let the weight hang overhead a little bit more to stretch through the shoulders as you breathe. But if that feels too much, just stay with the lifting of the weight off the back. Because here we're in a very compromised position. Feel free to come back whenever you need. And then to find your way all the way back up with the body. Maybe we do that one more time. It's a deep stretch of everything then. Be gentle with yourself. Don't force anything. Keep it safe. I think that we're doing a great job. So if we're going there again, we're trying to lift the weight towards the sacrum, to fold the body to begin with. I like to bend my knees in this one. And then from there, trying to, with the same grip, trying to just lift the weight off the back, exploring the up. If the up feels okay, and you want to go deeper with control because you're behind you, you can let that weight stretch into the shoulders so you're resisting the weight falling over. So you're engaging all those muscles that are stretching, breathing. And then whenever you're ready to, you find your way back. And then all the way back up, nice and set. Nice and controlled. Take a little time to put the weight down. So we're going to work legs wide into some Trikonasana. And we're going to explore again, first of all without the weight and then with the weight. So let's see if we can bring that left foot forwards and the right foot back. And with the Warrior One, we're sort of trying to square the hips so the right foot's more turned in. With the Trikonasana, more sort of 90 degrees, I would suggest. You can microbend that left knee if you need, but try to get the leg extended. And we're just going to see, can we move those hips a little bit side to side? So if you can, the legs are extended, and it's like we're trying to push the bum that way. So we begin to fold at the hips. It doesn't matter how far we come down. You begin to feel this inner thigh stretching. That is it. This is actually the Trikonasana with this line on that, with the left foot forward, the left line of the spine long. And then we can find our way back. So the movement actually comes from moving the hips out with legs strong and straight. If you feel unsafe in the knees, you can have that little micro bend. But it's not about how far down we come, because often when we come down, we sort of round the spine, and so we haven't moved the hips so much anymore. So let's see if we can find, let's bring that right hand up towards the ceiling. We'll explore all of it. We're going to find that right hand up to the ceiling to begin with, and we see, can we pull the hips towards the right side to see how far we can go. Now, as we're going there, see if you could push through the ball of the left foot. Actually, just going to take that left hand wide if we can. So like you're directing traffic, your left hand is pointing to the left side and reaching as far as you can. Right hand is trying to stay up to the ceiling. Just see how far you could lengthen and reach. And then let's bring the left hand down wherever it reaches to. Now here I want you to try to see if you can arch the spine. So we're going to take that right hand overhead to stretch and banana that right side of the body, so we can be pushing into the left hand, into the shin or the floor. And then we're going to see, can we take that right hand backwards, but also see if you could stretch the spine the other way. That right hand maybe taking all the way past the bum to reach back there. So we try to lengthen that left side of the spine as you go there. And then we find our way one more time, this sort of side banana, right hand and the whole spine, trying to lengthen through that right side. And then seeing if we can flex the right side of the spine and lengthen the left. And maybe you feel that working even more into the legs as we go there. And then let's try to bring that right hand back up to the ceiling, because this is a good place to be as we come back up, pushing through the legs to find tool. Possible that arm stays extended till the ear finds the arm. And let's give it a go on the other side. So, first of all, just moving, I just got my hips to crack there, and just moving a little side to side with the hips. So the angle will change of the hips. We're trying to pull that left side out and see where we can go, trying to push the ball of the right foot into the floor. Doesn't matter how far we reach. Again, if it feels unsafe in the knees, a little micro bend in that right leg, but one day you want to be lifting up on the kneecap to work it with the leg extended. Keep it happy in your body today, whatever that is. And as we pull the bum out towards that left side, the crown of the head is trying to reach towards that right side if possible, rather than forwards, because it's sometimes when we fold, it's easier to fold forward. So if we were standing right against a wall, we're going out to the side. Let's try to bring the left hand up. So this would be carrying the weight in a moment. We're trying to push or pull those hips out towards the left side, stretching into that inner right thigh. We're going to take that right hand forwards and see how far we can reach. So that right hand trying to lengthen and push away to lengthen that right side. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Left hand trying to push tall. So seeing how strong we can go, then let's drop that right hand down and rest it into the shin. So if you're resting into the shin, then you've got a little bit more maneuverability. You can sort of use that support, so you can begin to focus on the rest of the spine. Can you get that left hand to reach up and over? And can you banana that left side of the spine, almost like you're trying to lift into that middle spine as you reach the hand overhead? And then as you take that left hand back towards the hip, can you straighten out the spine or lengthen that right side of the spine as you find long and strong and working into those legs and into the back. So we see changing the back really changes what's happening into the legs, and just explore it all. So you've got that left side of the spine long with the hand overhead, and then that right side of the spine trying to lengthen, and you're seeing how much can you find that left hand almost reaching up behind. Go one more time overhead. Stretching into that left side spine. Then we're going to bring that left hand up towards the ceiling and see from here if you could be strong. Push into the legs, maybe sliding the right hand up the leg, pushing the ear towards the shoulder. And then we find our way in. And we try that with a weight. So, not all of it. We're not going to do the flexing and extending of the spine. We're just going to see if we can reach in. So it doesn't matter how deep we reach in. It might be that we go less far now because now we're loading the posture. So we see again, Trikonasana with the left leg wide. Got that right hand pushing tool. We're seeing, can we find that right arm extension? If you need a little micro bend in the left leg or either leg, that's okay. But the full pose here one day will be legs extended. And get comfortable with the weight loaded here. So that in itself is just a thing and probably feels a little bit different. You're just trying to push that right arm tool, maybe a little tightness through the core. And once you've had a few moments here, if you just prefer to stay here, that's absolutely fine as well. But if you can, you're just pushing the hips out. So there's a little bit of a change in the angle of the hips, and you're just seeing where can I get. And breathe and push. And then maybe you lean into the left hand into the thigh, or maybe you can find your way down a little deeper and rest into the shin. Or maybe you can find your way all the way down nice and deep. If you feel strong, you might decide, I want to work this just by pushing that right hand through the legs, through the hips, through the spine. And then from here, we're going to see, can we push up, 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 up to find our way back up towards the top. Ear towards the shoulder if you can, arm extended. If you need to spot, do. See if you can bring that weight in towards the shoulder. You can spot. And then we're going to swap sides. I really like this, carrying the bell with the hand through. Got the palm facing up, and we can push up. It keeps the center of gravity low, directly on top of the hand. But we're working into a balanced grip as well. So you're seeing, can you find that left arm tool with the right leg forward? Pushing and reaching. Steady. We didn't do this on the other side, but we could find a little bit of rotation here to stay in this place and to mix it up just to see. We did this without the weight, I believe. Well, so you can explore that shoulder and how that works and how is that comfortable in the core. Then we explore the hips. So we're seeing, can we find that we're trying to push the bum towards the left side? Might be that just there, your right hand is above the knee. You're seeing, can you find in there? if you get good lines through the body, if you get that right side of the spine long here, then that's a good line of the body. If you can come down deeper, trying to keep the right side of the spine long, trying to work that balance, pushing tool, breathing, steady, maybe even just strong through the legs. And then when you're ready to find your way all the way back up here to the shoulder, if you can, drawing that arm in to find that low grip, that power up from there. And then when you're ready to, let's release the weight down for a bit. We're going to come, if we can, to come down onto the knees. And we're just going to see if we can work a little bit of shoulder movement. So we're going to see if we can carry the weight in this position. So we're holding the bell from the handle with the heavy part at the top. We're going to see if we can find that in front of the face, and then we're going to try to just lift. So we turn it to the side, so we frame the head with one arm. We're going to see if we can then bring that behind us and try to squeeze the elbows together and push those elbows behind. But if you can, you're also trying to tighten the core as you try and send that weight as far down the back as possible. Elbows squeezing in one day towards the ears or even behind the ears. And then we're seeing, can we frame the other side? So bring the elbow tool over the head and then back round in front. I'm going to go 3 times round each way. If you've got a hair thing on top of the head, it might be tricky. So we're trying to come elbow just above the head and then around behind. Squeezing in, tightening the core, working that weight down as deep as you can. And then we see, can we come the other side, framing the head and then round in front. And then we're going to see if we can do it again a bit smoother. So we go round behind, squeezing in those elbows, tightening the core, and then back round the other side. And then we'll do 3 times in the other direction. So exploring that movement through the shoulders, weight then behind, elbows squeezing in, all the way back round and back in front. So in the second direction, exploring that movement through the arms as far down as you can behind the back, back round in front. And one more time. So framing the head, almost brushing the top of the head, arms reaching down, shoulders opening, and all the way back through center. And then we can place the weight down to the floor. So from here, let's put the weight down for a moment. And we're going to see if we can try to just work the back in a horizontal place. So the first thing we're going to try is to see, can we lie on the back? And we're going to see if we can try and place the hands underneath the calves with the thumbs up to the side. And we're trying here to pull the legs towards the face. We're seeing, can we pull those legs in? We're trying to get the tailbone off the floor and the forehead towards the knees, so not the shins. We're trying to curl in, even if we can't reach, we're trying to curl in towards the thighs. So into that little ball, shoulders down away from the ears and just stretching out that lower back, stretching out and working the core, shoulders away from the ears, forehead towards the knees, breathing. Lifting that tailbone and the head and shoulders off the floor. And then from here, we're going to see if we can work the opposite. So now we can allow the toes to the floor, but we're not putting weight into the feet. We're keeping the bum down. We're going to press onto the elbows to lift the head and shoulders. We're going to try to arch the back and take the head backwards and see if we can put the crown of the head on the floor. Then from here, we're going to try to bring the head closer to the bum. Maybe I like to hold on to the, just underneath the top of the hamstrings to pull my head in towards. And then elbows wide and just trying to Push down through the elbows and squeeze all the muscles of the back. Most of the weight is in the tail, but the head is resting on the floor. You're trying to work those back muscles, shoulder blades together, lifting into the chest, pushing those elbows down. Toes are hardly touching the floor if they are. And then from here we see, can we go back to working the core? So we elbows again to release the lower back down. We've seen, can we slide the hands up the back of the legs somewhere towards the ankles, holding the calves, curling in, rounding in, working that core deep as you can, stretching out that lower back, breathing, pulling those legs in towards you. Maybe one day the legs begin to extend even a bit more, stretching out that spine. And then again, toes to the floor, lifting from the elbows onto the bum, onto the tail, if you can, arching the back, head towards the floor behind, as close towards the bum as you can, elbows pressing down wide into the floor to lift, into the heart, into the chest, just to get all those back muscles engaging and working and activating. And then from here, we're going to go back into the belly strong. So we go back into the belly strong. And if you can, as you curl the spine, maybe you want to press the hands into the floor and swing the legs. Maybe you just want to stay in that core work. Or if it's comfortable too, you can try to roll up the spine and see if you can reach those legs a little further overhead. So we're stretching through that back body, keeping it gentle. Welcome to make this a shoulder stand or a plow, something soft in between. Using the breath, deep breath. So if you feel comfortable here, you might decide to explore different variations with the hand. You might decide to see if you could release the hands off the back and push them into the floor, or maybe even bring the hands overhead the same direction as the feet. And wherever you get to, let's roll down the spine, nice and slow. So here we're going to see if we can try to twist out. How we're going to twist out is we're going to see, can we bring the right foot behind the back of the left leg? So we see, can we hold the right foot with the left hand? And we're trying to hold on to it. We're trying to then get the right knee down towards the floor, lying on the back. Initially, just take a little time here, if you can. And if you feel the knee relaxes down to the floor and there's nothing really stretching through the hip, think about a little bit trying to tighten the core to get the lower back to reach into the floor. And if you get lots going on, then just take a bit more time here on the back. The twist is also very nice. So we're going to see from here, can we bring that left leg in? As we bring that left leg in, we're going to try to hold the knee and try to let the knee and the foot come across the body towards the floor. And as you do, that left shoulder will probably get lifted off the floor. So we're trying to then push the left shoulder back towards the floor, still holding on to that right foot with the left hand if you can. So try to push the arms wide and down into the floor. It might be you have to compromise the knee getting to the floor or the shoulder getting to the floor. And you can work it from each angle. You can get the knee to the floor and try to bring the shoulder back. Keep the shoulder on the floor and try and see how far you can get the knee. Or somewhere in between. And feeling the contortion through the belly. Sending lots of breath there. And if you want to make it a more active place, then I'd suggest still holding the left foot behind the back, seeing if you could even reach down to grab across the top of the right foot. And again, we're trying to get those shoulders to the floor. And then without letting go of the feet, we can try to extend the legs. So you're pushing that left leg away to see how straight you could get it without letting go of the foot. And then you could do the same with that right foot behind. You could try and push the foot away from the bum without letting go, trying to draw those shoulders towards the floor. And breathing and extending, doesn't matter how far you get, listening to the body. Or maybe you prefer to stay passive in the twist, and that's absolutely fine as well. We'll have a little go on the other side. Your arm to the back. So we're going to see, can we grab hold of that left foot with the right hand behind the back of the right leg? Try to allow the left knee down to the floor. If that's tricky, just take your time. If that's easy, think about extending the right leg. Think about trying to draw the lower back towards the floor also. So we want to keep the foot quite high, so maybe even that right elbow is bent. And then once we've had a little time on the back, and feel free to stay there longer if you're getting lots out of it. But then we might bring the right knee up. And we can see from there, can we twist that right knee across the body, right foot, right knee towards the floor. And noticing if that right shoulder gets lifted. And then can you push those shoulders wide, like you're trying to glue to the floor, you're trying to sort of flat pack. But we're twisting the hips, seeing how far that knee will go. Using the breath, listening to all the sensations that come along. And if you want to make it more active, you could see if you could reach down to hold on to the right foot with the left hand. And then you could be pushing the foot against the hand without letting go. Can you get the leg extended? Shoulders reaching to the floor. Maybe you could push that left leg against that right hand behind and try and take the foot away from the bone. And see where you reach. Shoulders trying to get towards the floor. And then slowly from here, let's find our way all the way back. And we're just going to take a little moment to surrender onto the back. If you're comfortable with the legs extended and the toes dropping wide, that's a great place to be. If that's not comfortable, find a place that you can be comfortable or as comfortable as possible. And then try to allow the body to arrive in stillness. And the point of being still is that we're trying then to observe the body without reaction. Every time we need to make a little adjustment is okay, but it's a reaction. It's a reaction to some sensation on the body. And while we lie here, we're going to see if we can scan the body from head to toe. And just to observe. And if there's going to be any reaction or any action, just try to allow that part of the body to soften. Allow gravity to do its thing. So that we can learn to move away from reaction. So that we can allow our actions to be independent choices, rather than being determined by the situations we find ourselves in, the people we're responding to. As you find your breath, starting with the crown of the head, just seeing if you can scan down the hairline, forehead, and the eyes resting deep inside of the head, and the cheekbones, and the lips, and the tongue, and the throat. all trying to soften shoulders and the upper arms and elbows. Maybe soften and relax the forearms and the hands. Bring our awareness down through the chest, through the front of the ribs, into the belly, down to the head. And then taking our awareness down the back, how the body connects to the floor. And the lower back possibly would disconnect from the floor. All the way to the head. Giving a little time in case you miss the sides of the body. The sides of the trunk, from the shoulders to the head. And then relaxing the right hip, front and back and sides, and the right leg, hamstrings and thigh and knee, and the shin, cup, and the sole of the foot, and into the left leg, and all the way down that left hip, left leg, knee, calf and shin, ankle and foot. And taking a little moment to see if you can just spread your awareness through the entire body all in one go. From head to toe, from toe to head. It's trying to expand that awareness through the entire body. And when you're ready to, let's bring our awareness back to the breath. Deepen the breath and then begin to find a little movement in the fingers and toes. You might want to hug the body in or stretch the body out. You want to hug the knees or stretch the arms overhead. Maybe it's nice to roll over to the side. And then whenever you're ready to, let's find our way back round and up. Thank you for coming out for Yoga with Weights this morning. Have a great day.